Hello, everybody. Happy Friday. I'm Joshua Habersky here with our latest addition to the PCA team, Ricardo. Everyone knows him from the cigar industry. He's been involved with a ton of different projects, the Cigar Academy being kind of the latest and greatest venture. But we're very excited to have him come on board as our Director of International Affairs and Education. So welcome to the team, Ricardo. I know that we wanted to talk to our membership about what you're going to be doing and kind of some exciting projects that we have on the horizon.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much, Josh. And it's a pleasure to be here. Indulge me just for a moment to begin by, sincerely expressing what a privilege, honestly, and what an honor and how grateful I am to be given this chance to serve the cigar industry as part of your team, alongside our brilliant colleagues at the PCA. So for that, Josh and team, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. And indeed, yes, it's been a while since we had a chance to meet and what led to what we are today. And I'll be very happy to share a bit of what has been keeping us busy, what we have been preparing for, and what's coming down the line, primarily on the education side, but also on the international front. It's been about a decade since I've been in this industry, and leading to where we are now. It's a little bit on the sort of I would say it's almost part-time basis while I was a diplomat to where we are today. I think we have a great opportunity here to build on that experience, to build on what you're doing, what the team have been doing, to take this further. Ultimately, as an association, our job is to listen to our members and act upon the needs, right? And do what's best for them. So when we think of education, comes to mind a thought from a very wise man who said, education is our strongest weapon. So education is our strongest weapon. And that's something that we feel very deeply. And that man was Mandela. And when we look at where the state of the affairs of our industry, the major challenges that we have, we could argue that in many ways they stem from a lack of understanding, a lack of knowledge, perhaps a lack of education, be it on the side of regulators who potentially don't have that understanding of what cigars really are. Something that, as we very well know and feel and believe firmly, is not a product, it's not just a thing. It's an extension of a culture. It's an extension of my own culture, Latin American culture, Nicaraguan culture, but also the US culture and many on. So creating that awareness, it's a campaign a crusade, if you wish, that starts by educating at all levels, from aficionados to retailers to their staff and everyone on board. So we listen to our constituency, if you will, our members, saying we need to do something about education in general. So we start with that. One of the perhaps most impactful projects, initiatives, achievements, I would say, that I've heard of in this industry since I've been smoking cigars and I've been around, is the opportunity to come into an academic institution like the Florida International University, like the leading hospitality school in the world, and come in to offer them an opportunity and join efforts with them for a luxury masterclass and the Chaplain School of Hospitality. But just if we take stock of what that means for us as an industry, the opportunity that it gives us to precisely convey this, right? That this is something that it's so diametrically opposed to what a cigarette is, how not intended for the youth is, and how much it can enrich the education of students not only on the hospitality side, and we'll speak a little bit more about it, but focus on this one in particular with FIU in Florida, coming to these students supported and having master classes delivered by renowned cigar makers, the real makers, the ones that make this industry, and coming in and sharing with them the value, the strategies and their experience and everything that has to do with luxury marketing is going to be so enriching. And the fact that FIU saw this and the fact that they've opened the doors to try this, and get feedback from students and potentially go into something that's going to keep on growing over time, showcases that Florida in particular has that, that footprint of the cigar world and education of cigars that makes him realize this, and giving us this chance. And it's going to be 3 fantastic days. If some of you have not registered, I believe there's still opportunities to do so. It's less than $500, 3 days, the 19th, the 20th, and the 21st of November. We're going to be there with Josh and some of our, yes,
it's going to be real exciting, Ricardo. And with that, we'll have 2 days on campus, one off-site. Folks that sign up for the course will receive a certificate, but they will also have, meals are included for that, as well as some different gifts. We're having a few things that are branded with FIU PCA that will be only available to students that enroll in the course. And the last day will be off-site in an environment where we'll be doing a pairings class. So we are bringing in some of the folks that to answer some of the questions that I've seen online. This is a in-person 3-day masterclass. It is very important that we fill the roles. We need to have 40 to 50 students in this course. And I think we were about 25 to 30% filled already, just out of the announcement that was last week. But the second phase of this is to do an online reoccurring module. I know some people, especially in the West Coast, were like, well, I don't think I can get to Miami. What are your plans? Well, Ricardo and I are also having conversations with other regional schools in the future about doing things in a little bit different. This is going to be our big partnership with FIU, but there's other schools that we're having conversations with, but we ultimately want to have an online portal where people can sign up for the course online at any time, and then offer something in person, one time a year or twice a year at FIU's campus.
Absolutely. And I've been contacted by, people interested from all over the world. And as you said, I think in terms of the opportunity to do it in person on this one, and then down the line online. And I'm quite happy to share that we are in very advanced conversations, as Josh mentioned, with the University of Houston. So I've had good meetings, good visits. So more details will be announced in due course. I've also been in conversations with Kaiser University, with the Latin American campus in Nicaragua. That's a Kaiser from Florida. So, and the interesting thing about this is that, and this is what we hope will create, for instance, with Houston, we're not talking about luxury branding because that's with FIU. Here, what we're talking about is how this impacts and how it benefited, targeting really and bringing a course to the students in beverage management. So it's a different kind of setting. We all understand the beautiful parallel worlds that beverages and spirits and cigars and the intersections that they have. And we know how they can benefit cigars, hospitality venues, clubs, country clubs, in terms of their offering and in terms of elevating the experience of guests. So this is something that we're focusing with the University of Houston, and we're developing. And as we progress, we'll keep you informed. With Kaiser University, it's a little bit different. Again, it's interesting because with them, who we're talking with is with students on the business major side of things. If you think of some of the students, some of the graduates of Kaiser University in Nicaragua in particular, you will have the likes of people from, some of the members of the Plasencia family, of one of the most, top cigar makers in the world. We have people, for instance, from SDG who are doing their MBAs out there. So the beauty of it is that they see the opportunity to learn how the cigar manufacturers on location, on site, on the producing countries can bring some of that knowledge and experience to their students doing MBAs or different kind of business majors within the university. So this is what we're hoping to see down the line with this initiative. First, that they expand online in addition to being in person. Two, that more universities see this opportunity and give cigars and the cigar industry an opportunity to educate in what we really are and what we can bring to enhance the careers and professions of many people. And that it expands not only across the United States, but internationally as well. So that's why we're so excited and so happy to start working on this one.
And that's a good segue, Ricardo, because I know on the education side, you're really amplifying and working with our team, our existing team, to build new partnerships. Obviously we've had the existing member benefits with the Cigar Academy as well as Tobacconist University. These are just enhancements and new frontiers, new partnerships that we're further developing. I know in the subcommittee, we're discussing about expansion to doing some tours, working with partners in Nicaragua and Honduras and the Dominican Republic, in the cigar producing countries. So, I think as we kind of tell the membership and the folks watching this what your role is, it's 50% education and then really 50% membership, really taking the lead in anything outside of the United States. So, everyone in the US is familiar with Lisa Sigler and Maria and get to interact with them a lot. But given your background in not only Nicaragua, but in the UK and in Spain, we are looking to enroll members and provide member benefits all around the world. And you're the perfect person that kind of bring those together. And as we domestically and my leadership team develop new programs, a lot of these are ubiquitous. So like any of our publications now, Antoine's initiative, they're digital. So letting people know internationally that we have all these tools. We have an almanac with a listing of all the different brands and SKUs and things like that. I think it's important that people understand that this exists. And then we, of course, want people throughout the world, whether it's in Asia or Europe or Latin America, coming to the PCA in New Orleans or Las Vegas. And we're doing a lot to support other events that are going around out in the world. We want to be a partnership. It's not a zero-sum game where because one person doesn't go to this show, they don't go to that show. We want people to go to multiple things, but our focus is also to sell the PCA as this is the epicenter of the premium cigar industry in the world. The U.S. is the largest consumption market. We take great pride in that, and we work with the partners that produce the cigars to have the largest premium cigar. Each of the other events has a unique niche to it, and I think it's important that we celebrate those niches and attend those in full force as well.
Absolutely, and that was going to keep us on that front when we think of international, right? And you said it quite clearly. The fact that we, as a country, United States, have that leadership that comes with a lot of responsibility. Not only that responsibility of being behind and supporting and elevating where we can a lot of these other events to be to the standard and the reach that they can be, and partnering with them, attending them. For instance, in Germany, we're working now on the Cigar Culture Summit. That is a summit focused on the culture of cigar making, bringing in all the voices from around the world. Josh is going to be speaking on some of the panels. I'll be speaking in some of those panels. I'll be hosting, moderating some of these panels. But why do we invest all this time on the international front? In addition to what you said, Josh, I feel that, when we sometimes think that closing our doors can prevent us from fires coming from the outside, we learn lessons that we need to tackle those fires where they begin as well. And a lot of the situations, the regulatory dangers and risks that the European and beyond emerging markets are suffering right now, take it from a generational banning. Think of Ireland, a beautiful island where, you have plain packaging. Think of Amsterdam, such a freedom-thinking city now going to plain packaging. So all this, if we think that that's never going to come and touch on our doors, we'll be blind about that. I think we need to be anticipate. We need to be proactive. And association, in addition to the promotion of the culture and being present in all these shows, is having that creating partnerships with local associations in different countries around the world to share experiences. I think we've had great successes and difficult and challenging and failures as an industry in the United States as well. So we need to learn from those experiences and create best practices and support where we can. So that's why that 50% of the time being out there trying to prevent fires coming from the US exporting the best thing that the U.S. cigar industry has to the rest of the world and bringing the best. And that exchange, the more conversations I have with retailers across the U.S., I'm spending some time there in Texas, visiting great friends there in Dallas, and every one of them very, very seriously, values the importance of education and learning and exchanging with international organizations as well. Ultimately, you talked about, and I want to just briefly mention on that because I think it in many ways puts together the best of the best when we think of education and our members coming in together. That's a subcommittee of education. This is a subcommittee, where you have retailers, you have manufacturers, you have all different parts of the supply chain of our membership, of our categories, working in projects like the one you mentioned, hubs in Nicaragua and Honduras and other countries, but also education for the retail staff. How can we bring together the Tobacconist University and others to create something together? How can we improve on the marketing side across all levels? How can we facilitate relationships between suppliers and retailers? And all these ideas, this is not Josh and I coming with this only. This is something that comes from the needs on the day-to-day basis of the bread and butter of the soldiers of the cigar industry, the retailers, the brick and mortars. And that's where it's coming from. So we couldn't be any more excited. I couldn't be any more excited to be given this chance. Think that on the international side as well, you will see more updates when we get closer to some of the events that we're doing. But I frankly and firmly believe that we're on the right track to begin with. Josh, thank you again for this opportunity.
And I think for our membership, Ricardo, like if they have ideas that are related to international programs, so anything outside of the United States, please reach out to Ricardo, or giving some feedback on the educational front. If you have questions about the FIU program or any of our future programming, that's where you would reach out to him. We're going to be trying to recruit a lot of international partners. We've had conversations with Pro Sabor, Pro Cigar. I know both of us have Intertobac and the Cigar Culture Summit coming up. We're very excited to go to that in September. And we want to support the existing infrastructure that's out there, share some of the ideas and initiatives that we have. So it's important, that folks reach out and know that we have a new resource in the portfolio for the Premium Cigar Association. I do want to pivot, while we are here, we're kind of coming up on our time. I have gotten a lot of inquiries from our members related to California. Ricardo, you talked about kind of bad policy. There's a perfect example of it. We are working with our regulatory council to draft guidance for both manufacturers as well as retailers. This is fresh, and California, I think by their own admission, would admit that they didn't have all their ducks in a row when it was launched. We think that there's a ton of concerns. We've weighed our concerns. We work with groups like the California Retail Association as well as the Boutique Cigar Association, pushing back on why this is a bad rollout and why it's costly and detrimental to the smallest companies that exist within our industry. We're going to continue that, explore all of our avenues. But if this regulation stands, we are going to put out guidance hopefully next week. I know that we're pushing our teams, but I've gotten a couple inquiries like, what's PCA stance? We have to get it right. I'm not going to release something that is incorrect or if it's changing. So right now our legal team is running through all of this, and then I will review it. And Glenn Loop, who runs is our director of state affairs. So we'll get that information out hopefully next week. But the delay, it's not that we're not. We're not asleep at the wheel on this one. We know that this is a big challenge to many of you, and we're working on it. We're actually trying to facilitate conversations with some of the other industry stakeholders to what does Plan B and fighting back look like. And the PCA is definitely going to be involved in whatever those challenges may be, whether they're legislative, regulatory, or even on the legal or litigation front. So,
okay.
Ricardo, thank you so much. Welcome to the team. I'm glad that we got to kind of talk with the membership. If anyone has any questions or comments for either of us, I know that we'll be getting around to a variety of different events. We'll probably do another Facebook Live update or StreamYard session next month, probably more on the advocacy side of things, myself and Glenn and the folks from the advocacy team. But in the meantime, I know next Friday, for those of you in the New York, New Jersey area, we would love to have you visit our first Alliance launch event with Kingmakers at the Stork Club. We're going to have some meet and greets. I know Ricardo and I were working this morning to determine where his first meet and greet will be. Although I think you have kind of a quasi one that was already baked in on September 10th. So we're
on the international front, on the international
front. So
we want to bring it back home and to the turf. And yeah, looking forward to those engagements. You know, Ricardo at premiumcigars.com.org. Reach out anytime. Happy to help. Listen to you all. See what we can do to keep growing together, strengthening our industry and education. And I just want to leave it with final comment. And I was asked this question by a retailer in the U.S. and he was asking me, Ricardo, why ultimately why international, right? And I think if I were to sum it up, and I think I briefly touched upon it before, is look, ultimately the time that we invest on international will only come back and benefit us back in the U.S. I mean, anything that we can learn, any fire that we can prevent coming in, any lesson or any idea in terms of how we can advance different ways of doing our business, working on advocacy, ultimately, it will only impact us positively. So it's not about spending time there. That comes back home. And ultimately, let's not forget, we're in the most international industry at all. Our cigars are made in Nicaragua, in Honduras, Dominican. So I hope that we all understand that value and we continue working together. But yes, looking forward to going back there with you, Josh. Looking forward to then seeing you out here on the 10th of September in London. They offer us an opportunity to do a meet and greet in the city of London by River Thames. But we'll have an opportunity to visit other retailers as well here in the UK, where I am right now. And then we'll head back to Texas. More to come from that end.
Sounds great. Well, thank you, Ricardo. Everybody have a good weekend and long holiday weekend. And we will talk to the membership shortly on and keep everyone informed on some of the updates that we have going on. Thank you.
Thank you, Josh. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. See you soon. Cheers. Bye-bye.